Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to this review for WWE's Night of Champions from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, and I know this is out late. I know that I'm uploading this late, but I was busy. I was dealing with other things, especially I had like a really busy weekend, so I couldn't even really sit down. I didn't finish watching the pay-per-view event until just recently. So it's been all a mess. But I'm gonna give my quick thoughts. It's not gonna be a recap review on this event like I did with Backlash. It's just gonna be my quick thoughts, and I'm gonna try and make this video as short as possible. And so, like, the big surprise to me for this event, just to really kind of start off this review, was that when I did my predictions that I put up I think either Thursday or Friday. I put it up Friday. I had basically just talking about how cut and dry this card was. Like, you can look at the matchups and like, oh, this person gonna win, that person gonna win, this thing is gonna happen, and blah blah blah. And I was actually right on majority of things. There was only maybe a few things that I was wrong about, but I don't even think it was a few things. I think it was maybe like one or two things that I was wrong about, but majority of everything I was right about. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, but I feel like the little twist that they made up in the event was because it was so cut and dry, so they didn't want to make everything literally predictable. So, but just getting into that, one of my predictions was that Rollins was going to take the match with him and Styles and to crown a new World Heavyweight Champion, and I was right. Like, I would have been fine with either guy winning, but I was pulling for Rollins. I thought that Rollins, they set him up to be the guy to take it, at least for right now. For how long he's going to hold the title, we don't know. But as of right now, Rollins' popularity has like just risen, has soared, and he's just insanely popular. I mean, AJ is like popular, but he's not on Rollins' level right now, especially with his theme song. So yeah, I felt like they was going to go the route of Rollins when it came to this. And it was a good choice. Like, I feel like that was the better choice. Like I said, I would have been fine either way, but, putting Rollins in that position was the best choice. Regardless on whatever type of like animal Rollins wants to wear to the ring, because he was wearing like a leopard print. I honestly chuckled when I saw that. Like, that was just hilarious. But the match was really good. I really enjoyed the match. Had some back and forth like we already knew. And we already knew that Rollins and Styles together in the ring was going to do something good. Like, I feel like it would be hard for them to have a bad match. Like, it would be really hard for them to have a bad match. But I was surprised that AJ delivering the pedigree, which I guess if you want to win the match, you go by any means necessary. And if the pedigree can get the job done, okay, cool. And then, Styles gave him a super kick when he was trying to deliver a phenomenal forearm. And then, he gave him a pedigree along with a stomp, and to clear the victory for him, Triple H coming out and crowning him the new champion, much like he did in NXT when he won the NXT championship. So I was down with it. I dug it. Like, I really did like the match, and it was a great way to start off the event, leading on to the other matches, which this is one of the best matches on the card. I can clearly say. And next, following him up, was his wife, the man, Becky Lynch, versus Trish. And this match wasn't like the greatest, but it wasn't bad. Like, I mean, Trish still had like, you could tell that she had like a little rust to her, but at the same time, she did a good job. I enjoyed the match. It ended, honestly, and I predicted it. In my predictions, I predicted that somebody was going to come on Trish's behalf and help her win. Like, it just seemed like that was the only logical step, and someone did. Because toward the end of the match, we had Zoe Starks come out, interfere on Trish's behalf to help her clear the victory. And I was surprised at that. Like, I literally saw the end of the outcome, like, even before I even watched the match. So I'm like, wow, I called it. Like, I don't know. It seemed to me like that would be the only logical thing. Like, it just, I don't know. it was so weird. Like, I had a prediction. I was like, that's so Raven. Like, I just looked and then came back. No, that was just me. But in any case, it was a pretty decent match. I really I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was bad at all. I was taken back by Becky's attire, much like her husband's, even though it was dialed down like a lot. It was like normal. But it's like, to me, she's like a NASCAR driver. Like, she was about to go ahead, jump up in the car and just peel off. But later on, ended up finding out that it was Uma Thurman's like costume that she wore in Kill Bill. So I'm like, okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. I didn't pick it up when I first saw it, but when I saw like the Instagram, I was like, okay, cool. I dig it. And I know that I'm not the only one, and I haven't mentioned this before, but it has nothing really to do with the match or anything, but who gets the vibes of Crazy Taxi every time Becky Lynch's music comes? Like, literally, every time I hear it, I always think of Crazy Taxi. If you ever played that game, it's on, I believe you can play it on Xbox and like retro type stuff, but it was a Dreamcast like game, and like it just reminds me of it. It just seemed like it would be music that came from that game. But in any case, getting back to it, it was actually a pretty decent match. So I felt like it ended up the way that it needed to end up, and just to keep the thing going. And this was a good way to keep Trish being not the person that have to wrestle all the time, because even though she was drafted and everything else, I feel like she's not going to be competing every single week. She's not going to have an interaction every single week. So to have somebody else there that can wrestle week to week and everything else, that can get physical more than Trish probably can. Even though she's in really good condition, she is older, and you kind of need somebody that's on like Becky's level as far as like youth, to be able to get in the ring and just do that night after night and blah, blah, blah. So I think that like that was the best call when it came to that. Becky had a bloody nose. I believe it was from Zoe Starks doing her move on her. So, but I mean, as we all know, that's not the first time her getting a bloody nose. But in any case, let's move on to the next match, which is Mustafa Ali versus Gunther for his IC title, in which I thought it was going to be a squash match, but it actually wasn't. It was a, I guess you could say somewhat of a competitive match. Ali gave some fight, but ultimately it just wasn't enough. Like they did make him strong enough to where if he would have won it, it would have been a major upset, as they would have said. And it would have been a major surprise, but they did make him strong enough to where you could think that there's a little glimmer of hope. There's a little glimmer of something that he could have like just snuck the victory and like just grabbed it right from underneath Gunther. But of course that wasn't the case. Gunther ended up doing a leg drop. Not leg drop, but a drop kick, and then he ended up doing a power bomb for the victory, which I felt like it should have been that way. Like I said, I really thought it was going to be a squash match. It wasn't, but I did enjoy the match nonetheless. It wasn't the best match on the card, but it wasn't the worst. I mean, I did enjoy it. I did like that they gave him some fight, but you know, we all kind of knew what the outcome was going to be. So it wasn't no surprise there. But what was a surprise was in the next match with Bianca putting her, what is it? It's so weird. Like they have titles of the opposite brand that they're on. So yeah, Bianca putting her Raw Women's title on the line against Asuka. And this is one of those matches that I thought was just cut and dry. I thought that Asuka was going to lose, Bianca was going to take it and continue her reign. But surprisingly, no. Surprisingly, Asuka pulled out the victory by spitting the mist and missing, but then later on spitting more mist on her hand. And then when Bianca set her up for the KOD, she rubbed the mist that she had on her hand in her eye So then at that point, she was blinded, and then Asuka gave her 2 kicks, which secured the victory. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, you don't get me wrong. You have your Asuka fans. You have your people that's like just pulling for that person no matter what. But I don't think really anybody saw that coming. I thought that a lot of people probably was like, man, Bianca's gonna take it. They're gonna continue it until like Money in the Bank, and somebody else is gonna win it from her or whatever. But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I can't be upset with it. My pick, like I said, was for Bianca. I thought that they were gonna go with it. They wasn't really hyping up Asuka too much to be the one to take it from her to end this like reign of hers. But hey, I mean, I'm okay with it. As long as they do something major and different with Asuka, I have no problem with it. You know, if they don't turn her back to the same Asuka, if she actually is a total heel and just vicious and just visceral when it comes to being in the ring, I'm okay with it. But, you know, I mean, I'm glad that they threw that little monkey wrench in there, so it wasn't just like going into this, we knew everything was going to happen, and then everything we knew was going to happen happened. They switched it up on us, and I really did like that. And they had a really good match. I mean, Bianca, one thing you can say about her is that she's been having good matches with these Asians. Like, they're bringing out good matches out of her. I mean, she is a great athlete, and she does have good matches without them. Like, I'm not saying she isn't, but she is having some good matches with some Asians. So, I mean, I guess that's a plus. And so, to push through the rest of this, the next match is Rhea versus Natalya, and putting her SmackDown title on the line. And this is a match that I thought was going to be competitive. Like, if you can look at the Gunther match with this match, I thought it was going to be reversed. Because literally this was a squash match. Like, there was, I can see the reasoning behind it, but it just doesn't, I don't know. It's like Natty, she's at a point where she is a person that's going to do the job. Like, she's going to do matches like this, where she's going to push the younger talent up. Like, she's going to do the job for them and make them look good. But I don't think this is a way to do it. I feel like Natty is a great performer, and she should have had a competitive match. Like, Natty is not at the point right now where she needs to have a squash match. Like it's weird the way that they did this. Like, if they were gonna do it like this, they should have just had it to where like she attacked Natty before the match and she couldn't continue or something like that. But I mean, Dominic got involved, which distracted, Natalya, and then Rhea from then on just took control and literally just delivered the Riptide and 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Like, literally, I don't even think the match went like a full minute, or maybe it was like a minute and a half. I think it did have like a little length to it, but it wasn't like 2 minutes long. Like, it literally was a squash, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I mean, it's like I'm not okay with it, but I can understand why they did it. But anyway, Rhea is still a champ. There was no question there. Just the only surprise was it being a squash match. That was really the only thing. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the second to the last match, which is the Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar match. And this is a match that honestly probably should have been a squash match. But I can understand why they wouldn't want to, because they want to keep Cody strong and they want to keep Brock strong, but they have to maneuver it in a certain type of way. And when it comes to Cody, I'm going to make a separate video about the situation with him and how I feel. But this match ended up kind of going the way we would expect it to be. With him having that injury, I didn't expect him to pick up the victory. I would have been surprised if he would have won against Brock, but I didn't expect him to pick up the victory. I expected him to put up a fight, but ultimately get out, I ain't gonna say outclassed, but outpowered by Brock Lesnar, who's going to take advantage of his arm that he's already injured and take the victory. And that's essentially what happened. It wasn't a 1-2-3 pinfall. It was a literally like he put the Kimura lock on, and Cody Rhodes just passed out from it. He didn't tap out or anything, which I feel like they probably should have made him tap out, but they're trying to keep Cody strong. And I'm only thinking the reason that they're trying to keep him strong is because they're going to put him against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And the only way to do that is to put him up against Brock Lesnar, who has a broken freaking arm. Not Brock Lesnar, but Cody. And to literally get put in the Kimura lock longer than anyone else, still not tap out and just pass out from, you know, how much pain it was, and still come out the next night or, you know, Monday night all fine and dandy. But it's like, I feel like they're trying to keep him super strong, so when he goes against Roman and he wins, it is believable. So like I said, I understand it, but, you know, I kind of don't. It's whatever. I'm going to talk about it in the other video, but this match ended the way I thought it was going to end, the way that I feel like a lot of people thought it was going to end. Maybe there was a little glimmer that, you know, he probably would have took it, but I don't think that was the case. That was going to be the case, or should have been the case this time around. But the next time they meet, Cody is definitely going to take it. So, yeah, this match went how it was, and with him wanting to fight, I'm thinking that, like, it probably should have been a street fight, but, you know, maybe they changed their mind, or maybe just Brock Lesnar forgot how to do it like a really good promo. I don't know, but I mean, it is what it is. The match ended how it was. It was a pretty decent match. Cody gave some fights. He gave some crossroads to Brock Lesnar. That's how much of a fight he gave. But yeah, it ended up the way it should have been. And so with that said, if you like this video so far, which we're almost done, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe if you're not. And so let's go ahead and get into this last match and wrap this whole thing up. Owens and Zane versus Solo and Roman. Speaking of, for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And this match literally went how I thought it was going to end, where where Owens and Zane were going to pick up the victory, but it was going to be some fuckery that was going to happen with the Usos coming in. I didn't think that it was going to, like, certain things was going to happen the way it was going to happen, but I thought, I just knew that they were going to come in on their behalf and, like, try to help them win. And then maybe they hit somebody or do something to, you know, just whatever. And it basically went that way. I just didn't expect Jimmy to super kick Roman not only once, but twice. You know, it's nuts. And I knew that Solo was going to be the one to take the pinfall, because they're not going to have Roman take a pinfall, especially before he loses the titles. Like, after, cool. But before, no. He's going to stay strong. He's going to be unpinned until he is pinned for the titles. But Solo was going to be the one to take the thing. And it ended up being like a really, really, really good match. I really did enjoy it. But the thing that is like the talk of the town that really set it off was just how the match ended. And so just thinking about it, with them keeping the bloodline on SmackDown, now I understand the reason why they did that, because that is the hottest storyline that's going on. So if you have something happen on Saturday, like what happened on Saturday, we have to wait all the way, almost a week later, to find out the repercussions of what's going to be the end result of it. And I kind of applaud them on that. I mean, that's a great way to have a storyline continue and have people want more, especially after this. And yeah, I mean, it was a really good match. And to even just start it off the match, you know, you had Sami Zayn doing what I guess you could say Paul Heyman did with like Roman Reigns and Solo, introducing them, and not even giving the announcer to really speak and introduce the people, because Paul Heyman introduced them, and then Sami Zayn introduced himself and Owens, but he did it in Arabic, which the crowd popped for. Like, the crowd was hot for Sami. That was one of the highlights. Like, before the match even like kind of like started. I mean, even after the bell, like the crowd was hot for Sammy. Like they were like in it. Like they wanted Sammy to win. Like they won. Like that was the favorite. Like the crowd was hot for him. And overall, that was a great match. And looking at the whole thing, the pay-per-view event, I didn't enjoy it as much as Puerto Rico. I guess it's because it had more matches that were more like we know what's going to happen. So it kind of like took that little plausibility. Even though Backlash had that, it was kind of like one of those things. I guess the crowd was one of the elements that made it like really like seem like it was just bigger than life. And so I liked it. I did like it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't like think it was on par with Puerto Rico, but that crowd just made it like just send it to a new height. But I really did enjoy it. You know, it was a cut and dry. Hopefully with Money in the Bank, they'll have more matches where you can look at it and be like, I don't know who's going to win. Who will win? You know, something like that to give a little bit more variety instead of like, you know, just maybe throwing in a twist or two, but just actually doing something totally different. Getting people on edge and like who will win, you know? So, overall, yeah, I liked it. Like I said, I didn't want to make this too long. It ended up being long. So I hope you guys stuck around. And if you did, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe if you're not. Hit that notification bell for more videos like this. But in any case, I will catch you guys next time. So peace out, stay safe, and I don't know, maybe kick your cousin in the face. There we go. Do that.